Hello and welcome to the APMA podcast. It's your boy Lozzy back with another solo. I have an electrician coming round, and that isn't a euphemism. I don't know what the euphemism actually is for that, but it is an electrician coming round to look at some of our electrics, because we've got an old house. I think it's like 1875 or something like that. It was built in originally. So, yeah, the electrics, not great. Not great. Not a major refit needed, I don't think. I hope. Please, to the love of fucking God, let there not have to be a full rewire, because that's it. You'll see me face down in the nearest river, just floating and swelling up until someone finds me. Anyway, on a lighter note, I hope everyone's doing alright. I hope you've avoided the riots. I did say on a lighter note and then went straight back in for the kill. Yeah, I hope everyone's okay. Didn't get caught up in the riots, and if you did, questions need to be asked either way. But look, the country's falling apart. The UK's done. We're in massive amounts of debt. There's rioting. People are burning fucking every shop under the sun, trying to fucking brick mosques and shit. Look, it's just not going well. It's not going well. But I'm not here to talk about that, because that's depressing. I want to talk about something else that's depressing to me, and that's music. Bit misleading, because I actually love music. Just for full disclosure, I love music, and I am very passionate about music, as a lot of people are. I've yet to meet someone who doesn't have an opinion on music. I feel like most people will have an opinion on music. Not so much games or TV or maybe films, but music is one of the things that if someone doesn't listen to music at all in their life, firstly, how the fuck do you do that? Music is around everywhere. Unless you're deaf, then you've got a solid plan to avoid music. That also would go for if you don't have an opinion on music, because if you've never heard it, then you can't really have an opinion. I mean, yeah, you'd have a solid alibi for not having an opinion on music, if you were deaf. But all of us, regular people who've got working ears, that's no shame, not flexing. I'm just saying, you get better senses. Is that true? Let us know down in the comments. Any of you people who are lip reading this, do you get better senses? Like other senses, like your sight? Does that become better? Does your sense of touch and smell? Surely you got to have some upside of being deaf, opposed to not having to listen to the absolute monotony of bullshit that is on most people's playlists. That is me being a music snob. But I want to talk about music. I'm passionate about it. Like I said, a lot of people have got a lot of opinions about music. It's one of the most common things that people find differences and similarities in each other's tastes and opinions. So I've got a few opinions. There's some of the opinions I will attempt to back up with some form of data. But yeah, I thought we haven't done a podcast in a while that centers around music. I think the last one we did might have actually been the episode where we created a playlist, and that was fucking ages ago. So we won't be creating a playlist today. I just want to talk about music as a whole, and kind of where it's going and where it's kind of coming or come from, I guess. There's a lot of trends in music I'm not a fan of. I'm one of the very few people that I know that still buy physical discs and CDs and stuff. I must admit, I'm passionate about gaming, but the last physical game I bought, I don't even know what it was. That's genuine. Like, I have Starfield behind me, but there's no physical disc in it. You get like a credit stick thing with a game code on it. And it doesn't matter what version you buy. If you buy the PC or the Xbox version, it comes with a product code that you have to redeem digitally. So there's no physical disc. Even though they give you a steel case with a perfectly cut disc-shaped hole that a disc would sit real nice in, that's not a thing anymore. You just don't... People don't buy games physically anymore. At least from brand new. You might get a few people search the local charity shops like me, go and buy some old physical games, buy them on eBay or whatever. I've done that. But the last game I bought new release, I don't think it was on. It would not be on the Xbox Series X, so it was definitely on the PS4. Yeah, I want to say it might have been Red Dead 2, which that's a few years ago now. So I'm very pro owning your own media and having physical stuff. And even I don't own or buy physical games anymore. Pretty sad. I would have loved that to come with a disc. Starfield, loved it. I bought, to be fair, I did buy this, the Fallout Anthology, but again, they're all game codes. No physical discs in there. That's the PC. Digital download codes are provided for all the Fallout games. So it's very much the way that the world has been going. And I feel like I don't really see that changing. I saw an interesting stat the other day, and it kind of did spark me to perhaps plan a podcast about doing something revolving around music. I saw that record set, like physical vinyl, that's what I was looking for, the word. Vinyl sales in music has outpaced CDs. For me, boggles the mind. That doesn't compute. No one as a kid, and no one was buying vinyls. No one. And it's come back. It's come back. As of 2023, 43 million people bought vinyl records last year. This is 2023. 6 million more than the amount of people who bought CDs, or the number of CDs that were sold in 2023. So that's insane. So there is an uprising somewhere that wants physical media to be a big part of how they consume film, TV, music. Mostly music, though. Like DVDs. Fucking hell. Like, I don't even know the last time I saw a DVD. Or even Blu-rays. Like, do places still sell Blu-rays? It's crazy. It's crazy. Because, again, I'm coming from a childhood built on just having swathes of DVDs, CDs, all just stacked in furniture built for that very purpose. I mean, imagine you had an entire furniture business around building and selling CD racks, DVD racks. You're like, fuck, we're getting absolutely shafted here. No one's buying fucking physical DVDs and discs anymore. So why the fuck would they need furniture to house the non-existent fucking discs? We're fucked. And I imagine that's probably not your only play. If you're making furniture, maybe, pivot towards making like a chair or a table, because those things, as we talk right now, or as I talk right now, those things are still in demand, because no one wants to eat on their lap all the time, I mean, I've got a table. It's a coffee table. I mean, I don't eat from it. Actually, fun fact, I do eat from a lap, but not like the food is on a plate, on a cushion. I'm not fucking just slopping it in my lap and getting a ladle You know, I'm not like that. Do you know what I mean? I'm not a fucking animal, all right? But yeah, that would have been a weird business strategy to just only make CD and DVD racks and game racks. Fuck me. I remember when I had the PS2, like I had the silver PS2, and accompanying that was a lovely, lovely add-on. Like, I think it's one of the things you could slot the PS2 in. So it was vertical. And on the side, it had like these little slots for games. You know, you put the game boxes in there with the discs inside. It was lovely. It was great. It looked fantastic. You know, I never filled it, but it looked great. And now, you know, everything, like you could have a console and you'd not know that anyone's got any games for it. Literally, just there's no disc lying around. There's no coffee-stained fucking cases that were used as coasters. You know, none of that shit. It's all gone digital. And I don't want to sound like a boomer, but I'm gonna. I don't know if I like it. But then I'm the problem, because I don't buy physical discs, but at the same time, they're not made. Limited runs. You know, it's the whole idea around vinyl records outselling CDs is because vinyls came back. There was a viable business strategy to start bringing retro stuff back. Do I think that's going to happen with CDs? Probably not. But I am in possession of a couple of CDs that I recently bought. A band called The Story So Far, which I'm a big fan of. I am actually wearing some Story So Far merch. You can't really see. There you go. Yeah, that's my mic stand just decided to absolutely just go on strike. It's had enough. I don't know. I think it might be broken at the bottom. Yeah, I don't really want to use the analogy of a flaccid penis describing how ineffective this mic arm is at the moment, but it probably fits the best, so I do apologise for the visuals you might now be having of a flaccid penis, but we are where we are. Anyway, I was talking about me owning a couple of CDs that I bought recently from The Story So Far, a band that I hold very dear. And if you like The Story So Far, if you've never heard of them, but you like kind of like pop punk-ish stuff, it's not exactly the same, so it's not like, don't just think, you know, Sum 41 or Blink 182 or Blink 182. Some people call it. I've never heard someone call it Blink 182, even though that would be the more logical way to say it. But anyway, yeah, I really enjoy their music and have done for a while. But I realised I didn't have their new album came out recently, and I realised that I didn't have their last album before that as well. So I bought both of them. And I remember back in the day where albums were like, I swear they were more than 10 quid. I might be wrong. But anyway, the new album was 10 quid. There's this one here. Great artwork. I got no idea what's going on there, so don't ask me about it. The album's called I Want to Disappear by The Story So Far. Track lists on the back. 10 tracks, and then their previous album, which I didn't get but now do have, was called Proper Dose. Bit more of a standard design on that one. It's just like a kind of some mountains and a couple of plants fading into the mountains. But yeah, I enjoy both of them. But I am a big collector of, especially bands that I like, CDs. I've got lots of CDs. Just because I just like the idea of having the CDs. There's something, and maybe it's just for my my own feelings on music. There's something about owning something tangible with music. Obviously, it doesn't bother me as much with games because my behaviour is just buying digital ones. Whereas music, I stream music, full disclosure. I don't download music anymore, and I don't know anyone who does. But I also buy CDs. So a lot of the time, if there's a particular band that I like, and I mean really like, I will buy physical media or merch. That's another way that I kind of, in my mind, can get over the point about, oh well, you're just streaming it, blah blah blah. You ain't got anything physical to. Oh, my voice just went mad there. Anything physical to link you to actually liking that band or that act. I don't just like bands. There are some solo artists I like, but not many. But anyway, the main point, of the discussion today, the discussion with myself, because that is what you got, unfortunately, is 2 or 3 main points. One I will talk about later is, my personal preference for music, the Spotify charts is an absolute state. For me, there's way too much cookie cutter fucking music going on in the pop scene. You could argue that there's some rock bands that are cookie cutter shit, just copy and paste, variate, send it out. But the charts are a mess, man. The charts are a mess. And a follow-up to that, is rock kind of... And I use rock as like a very blanket, obviously, genre of music. But as a whole, is rock kind of dying off? I don't think it's dying off, but it's definitely becoming less popular, at least with people who stream music. So, yeah, it's... I don't know. I'm not someone who likes... I mean, I stream music because it's as everyone else does. It's convenient. It makes the most sense. We've all got data on our fucking phones now. You know, back in the day, you had to be a real fucking G to be able to stream music. You know, with on 3 fucking G, having like 500 megabytes of data in your plan, and you've streamed about 30 songs in a month, and then you're spent. Done. No more. You're done. But now, everyone's streaming music. They've all got data plans. You know, it's something. It's the evolution of people listening to music. But I'll bring this up now. I want to take a look at the Spotify charts. I know some people don't use Spotify. Some people use Apple Music. I've used Apple Music recently. It's okay. It's okay. I will say that I haven't actually used a streaming service yet that produces a great playlist for me. There are ones that have playlists set by other people and have been made by other people that are good. But if you leave these algorithms, whether they use AI, I'm assuming they do to certain degrees, to create your playlist, a lot of the time it is pretty pants, because some of the music is just, like, for example, if I pick, like, I don't know, Linkin Park, you know, I'll get so many songs down the line and I'll be something that's so just not in that same realm that I'm like, okay, what the fuck? Why are you bringing this to me? Spotify's the same. Recently, I've been having a problem with Spotify just actually not working on my phone. Like, I'll get probably about 75% of the way through a song and it just stops. And it doesn't play another song. It just stops. I have reinstalled the app. I uninstalled it first, obviously, then reinstalled it. And it seems to have worked. So the old, like, turn it off, turn it on again, switcheroo. May have worked. I'm an engineer. I'm a software designer. You know, I'm an engineer. I'm a coder. I'm an engineer. Also, stay hydrated. It's not as warm today, but it has been fucking searing, boy. I can't deal with too many days like this. Tell you, stay safe out there. Drink some water. Stay hydrated. Put some sun cream on. You don't want that big C on your skin. No. You don't want it. I'm not speaking from experience, but it doesn't sound great, so I wouldn't bother. Just put some fucking sun cream on. You know, just if you do catch a little bit of sun, put some after sun on. Preferably understand or read the label and see if it's got any tanning agent in it. People will remember the tanning agent story when my hands went orange because I wasn't made aware that the after sun had orange tan. I was going to say accelerant, tan enhancer, and it just made my hands orange. I looked like fucking David Dickinson, mate. It was awful. Anyway, back to music. I'm going to bring up the Spotify charts. Spotify's how most people consume music. It seems most logical to bring up the Spotify charts. This is for the UK, by the way. So before people start telling me that it's a completely different, scenario in America, I don't live there. So I'm just going to tell you what it's like in the UK. Like I did at the start about the streets being on fire. All right? And rioting and stuff. It's a good place. Come here. At your own risk. Top 50 songs. Now, I'm going to pop this on screen. I want to tell... Or can I zoom into this? Oh, it does zoom in. That's great. I want you to look at this list and see if there's a recurring pattern. Because I assure you, there is. There is. So, I'll read out the top 10. Okay, so just the artist, not the song. Not doing a fucking documentary here. So, Charlie XCX and Billie Eilish, obviously teaming up for that song. Billie Eilish, second. Chappelle Roan, Sabrina Carpenter, Miles Smith, Shabuzi, Hosier, Benson Boone, and NSYNC. Now, if you're thinking about what the fuck is NSYNC doing in the top 10, if you haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine, then you'll be completely clueless. But it is in the title of the track. Bye by NSYNC is actually in the new Deadpool film. So I'm guessing that has had caused that to have a big bump up the list. But let's go from 11 to 20. Post Malone, Morgan Wallen, Dasha, Charlie XCX, Noah Khan, Bless, Carmen Watson, and a Baby Close is maybe how you pronounce that. Teddy Swims, Jordan Atenji, Chapel Roan, and Kendrick Lamar, and again Charlie XCX. This is the top 20 in the UK, and there is nothing on there, nothing that I recognise anyway as being rock orientated. Now, it's just people's tastes, fair enough. But I feel like there's a lot of music that's made nowadays that's made purposely to be not monotonous, but boring. Because a lot of people are consuming music. They're not actually really listening to the music. They got music on in the background. So I'm thinking about a student, for example, putting music on in the background. A lot of the times when I was studying, I couldn't have music on in the background because I'd start fucking singing to the music and I'd pay more attention to the music than I did when I was actually meant to be writing an assignment or something like that. Same thing with if someone was playing a game that I liked in the same room whilst I was trying to do something else. I'd avert my attention to that because that was more exciting to me. That was more fulfilling. Whereas if you're listening to music that isn't really that engaging It's very samey, same sort of structure, same rhythm. You could probably just smash out an assignment listening to this top 50 list. I'm not saying all the music is the same. I'm not. Kendrick Lamar is obviously different to Charlie XCX. But there is a lot of artists on this list that, from my limited listening, create or have music created for them that is very much hitting the key targets of what Spotify listeners listen to, which is, let's look at the track times. Right, duration is a massive thing in music. Like, when I was growing up, and I'm sure this was the case for generations before, you had bands who would experiment with fucking like 20-minute songs, 10-minute songs, 8-minute songs. I mean, Tool is a great example. I don't even know if Tool have a song that's under 4 minutes long, right? Let's go through the list. So I would say anywhere from about 2 minutes 30 to 3 minutes 30 is normally the sweet spot. Most people will have, give or take, a 3-minute song, give or take 30 seconds, because that is cookie cutter. You know, you don't want a song that's too long, because then it becomes, people notice it. They're fucking hell, this song's gone on for like 4 minutes. Change it. So, from number 1, 2 minutes 23, 3 minutes 30, 3 minutes 38, 2 minutes 55, 3 minutes 6, 2 minutes 52, 2 minutes 51, 4 minutes 11 for Hosier, 3 minutes 20, 2 minutes 58, 2 minutes 51, 2 minutes 31, 3 minutes 2 seconds, 2 minutes 18 seconds, 3 minutes 30, 2 minutes 2 seconds, fucking hell, that's short, 3 minutes and 4 seconds, Kendrick Lamar with 4 minutes and 34, and then finally Charlie XCX at number 20, 2 minutes 13. Very short songs. Very short songs. There's a few there that are over the 3 minutes 30. Very, very small amount of them are. You go down the list further, and there is a big pattern emerging. I would say the average runtime for the song is probably about 3 minutes, 10 seconds. That would be my complete guess. And that is for the entire 50. This is what I mean about cookie cutter. When you set off to write a song, and look, I'm not going to sit here as an experienced songwriter. I have written songs before. I have had songs recorded before. And never in my head have I ever said to myself, this song has to be between 2 minutes 30 and 3 minutes 30. Has to. I've never written a song like that, because for me, how long it is how long it is. If it's composed and it takes 3 minutes for the song to be complete, fuck it, it's done. If I want to have a song that's got multiple parts to it, maybe it's got longer choruses, longer verses, more verses, pre-choruses, bridges, whatever. It's just as long as it is. But the main thing about the duration of the song isn't me having a go at the fact that it is short or long. It's uniform. So, in my opinion, you lose. If you're writing a song to fit into a duration, you automatically limit yourself, whether you are a solo artist or a band or a writer who's writing for artists. You automatically lose parts of songs that could be different. So, if you want to make a longer chorus, or you want to make, more intricate bridge sections, pre-choruses, whatever it may be, you're going to be restricted by time, because you put that restriction on yourself to fit into what is key targeted by Spotify to be on these charts. There's a reason people listen to these songs. a lot of the time they're easy to listen to. You would be able to put a lot of these songs in the background and they would not make any difference. Like, people wouldn't act differently around the music being played because it is almost, it's filler, a lot of this stuff. And look, if people disagree, people disagree. But I feel like a lot of these artists on this list, I can't speak for all of them, or I don't speak for any of them, but a lot of these artists on this list will have made the song to a certain degree to be played in the background. This isn't like, I can't see any of these songs on here that I would go, okay, someone's going to set out to play that song and that song only. Bang. I'm not saying they have to. I'm not even really criticising the people who make the songs. I'm just saying a lot of these artists are very samey, in my opinion. And I understand people will say, well, you haven't listened to enough of them, blah, blah, blah. I feel like the duration of the songs tells you a good story. Tells you a good amount about these artists. And I'm fully aware, you're probably saying, if you know the band, The Story So Far, and their latest album, there's some fucking songs on there that are very, very similar durations to this. So I'm not saying it hasn't creeped into my sort of music. It's across the board. But this sort of music fits in the background a lot better than the sort of music that I listen to, because the music I listen to is a bit more aggressive. It's a bit more louder in terms of, for example, the percussion is mostly louder than most of these. It's got a lot more rawer lyrics and rawer tones of voice on there. But another thing that you notice on this list is there's not a lot of bands or groups. There's a lot of solo artists, and people will say, well, solo artists have a big, group of people behind them who make things tick, make things work, blah, blah, blah. All true. But they're still listed as solo artists. So my ideal, I'm not going to sit here and say, fuck Spotify for putting these into the top 50. If these are the top 50 tracks that are played on Spotify, they belong in the top 50. But in my opinion, if people actually listen to music, it'd be a much more diverse list of songs and artists. I feel like a lot of these songs, I've said it multiple times already, I feel like a lot of these are background songs. Like, people don't really pay attention to what is being played. I'm not saying it's genre specific, because there are rock songs like that, indie bands who have songs that you could easily just put in the background. But the top 50, I am struggling to find a... Okay, Mr. Brightside by The Killers is the first song that I know has come from some form of band, and is potentially, you could argue that it might be rock, potentially. And The Killers, this song is fucking ancient at this point, but interesting that it falls outside of the 3-minute 30, but it is still a very popular song and has been for fucking years. I would say over a decade now. Mr. Brightside has been one of those songs. It's played at every fucking disco, school disco, played at every fucking wedding, every celebration. Mr. Brightside is pretty much guaranteed to be lined up somewhere in a DJ's playlist. Continue going down. I'm not... Ice Spice, I know that's not a fucking... I know that's not a band. Natasha Bedingfield, Jesus Christ, coming back. A lot of Billie Eilish, a lot of Charlie XCX, a lot of Taylor Swift, a lot of what's her name? Chapel Roan. a lot of her. I mean, she is like, for example, this. I would do apologise if I get her name wrong or their name wrong. Fuck me, I don't want to be dragged into that. Look, Chapel Roan, 1, 2, 3, 4. She got 5. I think 5 songs. 5. She, from my quick glance, she has 5. Or I keep saying she. They have 5 songs in the top 50. They literally have 10% of the playlist is them. Billie Eilish is probably on there another 3 or 4 times. Taylor Swift is on there probably another 5 times. So you're looking at a good, 30% of the playlist is split between 3 artists. That is pretty crazy. It just shows you the dominance of those artists, I guess, on the platform. Yeah, I just feel like, unfortunately, Spotify has aided people in just being able to put music on that doesn't really mean anything to them. I'm very much of the opinion that you craft your own attachment to music. You've got your own journey with it. You got your own memories that back up why you listen to stuff, or maybe why you don't listen to stuff. Maybe a song reminds you of someone you don't like anymore, or a family member that's passed away that you don't want to hear that reminds you of that. Or maybe it's the complete opposite. You like that song because it reminds you of a family member, blah, blah, blah. It has there's still connections between songs, but I'm just saying on the whole, that list of 50 songs there, I don't think people are going to have, like, in my opinion, I don't think people will be sat there going, Lunch by Billie Eilish is just like, it means so much to me. It means so much to me. Because, and again, not criticising the artists, really not. All the writers, you're making the song, you're writing the song to fit a brief, a business brief, to get streams. And people stream shit that's easy to listen to, doesn't challenge them, isn't really, like, offensive in terms of there's no massive jump in sections being completely different. There's no time changes, or there's no sort of pace change. It's all, like, very, very similar all the way through, maybe a little bit different in a bridge maybe section, keeping it calm, cool, easy to listen to. And it works. Clearly, there is a reason the top 50 artists on this list are there. It's because they are the most listened to within that time period. Pretty fucking obvious. Does it bother me that there's no rock on there? Apart from maybe the Killers, and if I have missed someone out who is on this list and someone has spotted, I do apologise, I just don't know of them. My personal preference is, yes, I would like there to be more rock. People listen to more rock, people listen to more indie, whatever it may be. Just something a bit more, I don't know, feels a bit more rough, feels a bit more, it's not crafted to fit a streaming, it's not crafted to be listened to in the background. It's crafted for you to listen to it and go, fuck, that's cool, the guitars on that are cool, the drums on that are cool. That's my personal preference in music. But I understand people have got their own thoughts and feelings on it. You have to let me know down in the comments if I'm being a total wanker about music, which I probably will be. Like, is one thing I will say, I'm a music snob. Like, not to the point where I'm offensive about people's music, but I will not understand why some people listen to music how they do, or the music they listen to. But that's just because it doesn't compute in my mind. In my mind, I like to fill quiet times that I want music in with music that I like, with music that I can sing to, which, to be honest, all these songs probably fit the bill anyway. But music that sometimes challenges me and go, oh, what the fuck did they just do there? That sounds cool. I'll play that again. I don't want to just put a song on to have it fill the background. So, for example, whenever I'm doing anything like I need to send emails out, or I need to edit a picture or a thumbnail, I'll stick some music on. But I won't stick this on. I'll stick something specific, like I will go to an artist. I'll play that artist. For example, I've been playing a band called Ocean Grove, which are pretty cool. They're kind of like, I don't know, I don't like making comparisons because people will sit there and go, oh, they're fucking nothing like it, you twat. But I like Don Broco, Limp Bizkit, kind of rolled into one-ish. And they've got different albums with different sounds, but on the whole, that's their sort of vibe. I like both those bands, so they're right up my street. From Australia, so Big P, if you're listening, they are representing Australia. I may have got that totally wrong, but I'm sure they are from Australia. Big P's one of our best, like, sort of supporters from the start, the OGs. He's been around since the start. But yeah, I only know he comes from Australia, so I thought I'll make the link. But yeah, I've been listening to them recently, just like I said, doing thumbnails, editing pictures, sending off emails. You know, I'm currently trying to look for another job, so again, I'll stick some music on. But the problem that I have is I'll get too into the music that I put on, and it distracts me from what I'm meant to be doing. So maybe it's a better idea that I do just listen to this top 50, and I could just pay no attention to it at all. But I just feel like it would do me head in. Because none of that, I can tell you, none of those songs I'm gonna like. None of them. Even Mr. Brightside. Every time it comes on now, it's like, oh, really? Because that's the point it's got to, you know? But some people love it. I mean, it's like the boomer dads, like, get it on. Where's Mr. Brightside? Why are we playing this? Why do you want Mr. Brightside played at like a fucking 8-year-old's birthday party? Fucking weirdo. They weren't even alive when this song came out. Why the fuck would they be interested in Mr. Brightside? Maybe their dad brought them up on The Killers and only the Hot Fuss album. I had to look up and see what album it was from, because I don't know. The Killers, though, they do have some good songs. Is it When We Were Young? That's a good one. I did like that one. But yeah, Mr. Brightside, not the best. But then it might be just the effect of it becoming so popular that it's played all the time over periods of time. It's played too much. Maybe that's the point. Maybe that's why it's not that great. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the sort of rock genre of music. I know it's very broad strokes with a brush there, but it is my favourite genre of music. I wanted to talk a little bit about the revenues. Obviously, we all know that streaming is the most popular. But I didn't realise how much of the market it took. So this is the US. So I've swapped from the UK to US. I do apologise, but it's the only decent figures I could find. And it's from the recorded music revenues in 2023. The source is the Recording Industry Association of America. There we go. I just wanted to label the source just so people know what's going on. So, digital downloads accounted for 3% of all the revenues in 2023 of recorded music. Insanity. Physical accounted for 11%. 84% of that was streaming. And then 2% is something called sync. I ain't got a fucking clue what that is. What is sync? Sync. SYNCH. Or is that cinch? Some people call it cinch. You know what I mean? That is America, innit? Don't know. But yeah, 11% physical media. Like, whoever thought? You know, back in the day, you bought I've been using back in the day quite a lot throughout a lot of the episodes, and I've used it a lot today. It is what it is. And I've used that a lot as well. Back in the day, digital downloads were like the thing. You know, you bought a copy of, I don't know, a DVD or a film, TV series, whatever, and they were legitimately giving you a digital version of it for free to make it seem like you were getting a better deal and to stop you possibly pirating it. Why the fuck you would pirate it after you just bought it, I don't actually know. But that was something they did. And it was always thought that digital downloads would be, as is with gaming right now, digital downloads would be the way forward. You know, people wouldn't buy physical discs anymore. And it has been. That has been the narrative with gaming, is that most people buy games digitally that they download onto their PC or their games console. With music has been about streaming, and it has been for a long time, but to the point where 84% of the revenue from last year in the US for all recorded music was down to streaming. But 11% was physical compared to 3% of digital downloads. So, physical has outlasted digital downloads in music. Now, with gaming, I won't talk about it too long. I have already talked about it probably a bit too much for some people's liking, considering this is meant to be a music episode. But gaming is in the reverse. So streaming is the newcomer, even though it's been around for a while, but no one can really seem to do it properly because streaming a game is much, much, much more memory and bandwidth intensive than streaming a song or streaming a film, because again, the same narrative plays out with Spotify in music. The same narrative applies to Netflix, Prime, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, all these other shite fucking streaming services. The same story applies for TV and film, but not for games, because games is more intensive memory and bandwidth wise. But there will come a time where we collectively have good enough bandwidth to actively and accurately stream games. Will games go the same way? Probably. It makes the most sense. The structure's already there. It's already been built. It's already been elaborated on. I feel like that's going to be the next progress forward, the next step forward. But will we see a rise in physical sales from that decision? Because based on this, if someone told me the numbers 84, 3, 11 and 2, I would not be putting the physical subtitle on the number 11. Just like I wouldn't be putting it on 84. I would, however, put it on 2 or 3% of the recorded revenue of 2023. Because that makes more logical sense. But no, it accounts for more than 10% of all revenues in 2023 in America for recorded music. Crazy. So it does tell you that there are a small, maybe committed group of people in at least America who want to own things physically. So my prediction is that gaming will go exactly the same way as music has, but with a bit of a caveat. It won't be very good for many, many years. Same thing we had with, you can remember like 4K screens and TVs were all this massive thing like 10 years ago. There were the TVs just coming through that were 4K. And everyone immediately jumped on it, on the bandwagon. I was like, it's the new standard. Everything's going to be made for that fucking screen. You know, people are going to be watching 4K stuff in the next like 6 to 12 months. And I'm sat here now with 3 monitors on a PC, hooked up to a PC. None of them are 4K. None of them. I've got a HD one on the left here, and I've got one at the bottom and one above. The one at the top is 1080p. The one on the bottom, which is the one I use for gaming on my PC and is hooked up to my Xbox, that's 1440p, not 4K. And I'm sat here well 10 years after the kind of emergence of 4K. The reason I remember it so well is because Jordan, who, you know, part of the APMA podcast, I do the Drip podcast with, we used to do a gaming show. We talked about gaming news and sort of stories and that. And one of the episodes we did, we talked about the rise in 4K technology, like displays being better, but how quickly would they be adopted, and how quickly or how readily available would they be for people to buy? Turns out, kind of a mixed bag. They weren't readily available at the start. They were very, very, very expensive, as all new technology that becomes like the first in the gate mainstream is. I do have 2 TVs that are 4K, but when we did the episode of the gaming news, when we first talked about it, was probably about 2016, 2017. Now sat here closer to 2025, you know, almost 8 years later, and I bought one TV last year, which is 4K. No better. The screen is the screen has 4K. It's not like 4K enhanced, 4K plus. It's an OLED 4K. If you know TVs, you know what OLED is. I'm not going to educate you because I don't fucking know myself. I do have another 4K television. That was bought in 2018. And it was only bought because I worked for a shop that sold electronics. A lot of TVs were sold by this company. And every year, the manufacturers cease making a certain model to make the newer model. So at the end of the year's run, there was a few left of a certain model that I liked. I bought it for a quite reduced price because I got staff discount, and it was like end of the run or end of the line. So that's why I got that. But if I hadn't have got it for the price that I got because of the discount that I got, I wouldn't have bought that at all. I would have been perfectly happy with 1080p, which I feel like a lot of people really, really don't give a fuck about. I want to see multiple people just with their phones perfectly happy with a 1080p screen because it does what they need it to do, that it works. And you're not going to get like a cinema experience from watching something on your phone because it's not a cinema, it's a fucking small box. Very thin, you know, small depth box now. But it can't replace the cinema. So, the kind of line I'm drawing between here, this very convoluted story, is I feel like games will go the same way, but physical media will pick back up again. Do I think it will come back as strong as it was before? No, because there are going to be an entire generation of children and young adults growing up who have never played physical games. So there is no nostalgia for those. There might be some of those people who, you know, have never listened to a CD, never watched a DVD, don't know the absolute trauma of putting a disc in a PS2 and then it coming up with that really horrific like red screen with mist, and you think you may have just fucked your PS2. They don't know that fear. Just like when I put a CD in a CD player, I fear it's saying disc error or not reading it correctly. You know, there's not that fear anymore. But there will be a certain amount of people who grow up and want to experience that. We've seen it with vinyl records. That I read out earlier on that vinyl records outsold CDs by 43 million for vinyl records, and that was 6 million more than the number of CDs sold in 2023. Insane. Like, you're telling me that all of those sales just come from boomers? I don't think so. They would have been made up with younger people wanting to own things that were kind of retro. They're not exactly retro, but they're made to look retro and give some people that kind of feeling like they're part of something bigger than just streaming it. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but I feel like that is the way it's going to go. I do have a habit of buying CDs of, you know, bands that I like, just because I like to have something tangible to look back at on and go, okay, well, you know, this band created something that I can feel and I can touch and I can listen to it organically. I haven't got to have an internet connection to listen to it. And I know you can download on fucking Spotify, or at least you could. I haven't had Spotify for a while, but I know you can download songs and listen to them offline. But this is like the truly off-grid is having these. And I'm not saying I fucking want to live off-grid. I'm not that person yet. Mind you, if the UK keeps going as it is, it will probably have no choice but to live off-grid. But yeah, if you are interested at all in physical media, you want to support bands, solo artists, writers, whatever, books is another good one. There's a little bit of resurgence in people buying books. Go out and get them. Go out and get them. And if I'm not going to give you business advice, so I will absolutely have to make this clear. This is not financial advice. This is not business advice. This is just entertainment advice. It's not any advice. It's to do with entertainment, all right? I'm not having someone sue me like 4 years down the line. You told me to buy fucking physical discs and they go up in price, you fucking twat. I don't know why he sounds like the granddad from Only Fools and Horses. I know there's a large section of the audience just going, what the fuck's that? But, yeah, I have bought quite a lot of physical games in the anticipation that they go up in value. And I haven't just bought them to do that. I've got some there in a couple of boxes over in that corner that I have got just because I want to get a working Xbox 360 again. I want to get a working PlayStation 3. I've got a PlayStation 2. I also want to get an original Xbox as well. But it's having the money to do so. So it's not only me just doing it for a business sense, but it might be a decent thing to get into if you fancy it. I mean, I don't personally buy CDs to sell them on, but games I will be, because I feel like games is the next kind of step where physical media will kind of make a little bit of a resurgence. Won't get anywhere near what it used to be. It won't overtake streaming. It won't overtake digital downloads yet. But as we've seen with the music industry based on last year's figures, physical now makes up a bigger percentage than digital downloads. So I feel like that has to be replicated to games. Maybe. I don't know. Allegedly, possibly, maybe. Anyway, Go out there. As long as you listen to music that you like and it actually engages you and you feel like you get something from it, makes you happy, fuck it. Even the base level of that makes you happy, fuck it. Do it. Have a good time. If you like listening to the top 50, songs on Spotify and you've got no issue with them and you do listen to them, it's not just background music, fuck it. Go for it. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I just feel like there's a lot of those songs that are a bit meh, a bit cookie cutter. And it just makes me a little bit sad that there's not as big a variety on there. But at the end of the day, it's a democracy, as far as I know, and I could be wrong. Spotify aren't putting those on there because they want to put them on there. They're putting them on there because people are listening to them most. I might be wrong. And, there's part of me that thinks that Spotify, wouldn't exactly be against doing that if they have favourable terms with the record companies who own the people who work for them, the artists. But anyway, I hope wherever you are, you're having a good day. Listen to some good music, get you in the mood. I hope this podcast wasn't too much of a a slog to get through. I just want to give my opinions on music and on physical media and possibly where it's going, where it's come from, and what you're likely to be facing in the future. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching and listening. I really do appreciate it. Your support is always appreciated. And we'll see you in the next one. Up the APMA. Bye-bye for now.